Previously, in the sign of affection, Yuki had lived in a completely isolated world because she was a deaf and mute. But her world began to change when one of the most popular guy of their college helped her out and train. From there on she got a crush on itsuomi. And luckily he was in the same club as her friend Rin, so she acted as a wingsman to get them together, and with some time Yuki got sure that she had fallen in love with itsuomi, and believe me, I personally loved the anime because it's similar to Nishimiya from A Silent Voice, and as she realized her feeling for itsuomi is love. Tells itsuomi that she could teach him sign language, and itsuomi agrees, so Yuki started to make a full sign guide for itsuomi that night, after which she visited itsuomi's bar with Rin. But her earplugs started buzzing out noises because they were not working well, so itsuomi asks her how much she could hear, and she tells them that even with earplugs, all sound is mixed. So Kyuya scolded itsuomi for asking personal questions and gives him some other work, so Yuki calls out itsuomi in her cute way and gives him the sign guide. She had made the signs very precisely. So itsuomi tried out his name and sign words and Yuki corrects him in the flow and realized how close she got, but then Itsumi asked Yuki to teach him personally because it's harder to understand. It was just a heartwarming moment for Yuki, so itsuomi asked her what happened, so Rin tells him she gets surprised by sudden contact like this, but Yuki was completely fine only with itsuomi. But their two drunk and wasted came in, both of them were totally wasted in alcohol, and the girl's name is Emma, she's a fine beauty, and Shiki is a hairstylist. But he was acting like a dumb so itsuomi picked him up because he was bothering Yuki. They were his classmates from high school and Emma was clinging to itsuomi way too much. So Yuki got uncomfortable as her heart started to break apart, and even while she was leaving Emma was clinging onto itsuomi, so Yuki asked Kyuya if they were a couple. But Kyuya assured Yuki that's not the case because there's a personal reason that itsuomi would never date Emma, so that gave her some hope. But after that day, Yuki didn't saw itsuomi anywhere for 4 days straight, so she kept having uneasy thoughts so she texted him and itsuomi called her out to meet at the station. So Yuki ran out at night in a hurry but Oshur saw her in the way, so she wanted to bail out, but Oshur was worried that she's off to see a guy, and Yuki wasn't interested in answering. So she runs out of there to meet itsuomi. He just came from abroad, but he wanted to tell her the reason after he gets a bit more familiar with her. So Yuki got shy because itsuomi means that he wanted to get closer, and looking at her he used to sign language to say she's cute, and Yuki tells him she also wanted to get closer. Although there was no voice, her words were understandable, so itsuomi pulls her into his arms to show his feelings, and Yuki got shy and her cute reaction makes him laugh, and just like that, the time passed out and the time was up for the curfew, so itsuomi walked Yuki back to her home, and when he got back to his own flat, Emma was waiting for him there. She is clearly head over heels for itsuomi and welcomes herself at his room, but bro just leaves her there and goes to spend the night at Kyuya's room just in case if she doesn't leave. But there she saw the sign guide. So Emma thought itsuomi was learning a new skill, but it's actually for Yuki. He gave her a foreign coin as a keepsake. Their Rin texted her that she's going for some shopping with Kyuya for the bar and suggested Yuki to make it a double date with her and itsuomi, so Yuki quickly asked itsuomi, and he agreed. Yuki started picking out a perfect dress and did some makeup to look perfect, and while she was preparing herself for the date, Emma calls out to Shiki to have a booze party again. He more or less knew what happened with itsuomi, so he stays there with her to hear all of her yapping, and just as that, the time passed out and the day came in for the shopping trip. Yuki was hoping not to run into Oshur, but he was on the same train Yuki had to take, so she made up she was going to the library, although Oshur didn't want to show it. But it became clear that he liked Yuki when he leaned onto her, so when the stop comes, Yuki was swayed away by the crowd, but itsuomi got her there. And Oshur noticed she was lying about the library, but Yuki turned around to avoid answering, and they then left to meet Rin and Kyuya, who were completely shocked when they saw itsuomi was holding Yuki's hand while walking. He was taking care of her more than usual, and seeing them, Rin was happy that they were getting along well. After that, they arrived at the mall and the girls were excited to see all the new things, but there itsuomi called out Yuki with affectionate voice, but sadly she couldn't hear him. Itsuomi wanted to give her a giant snack box, but she asked Rin about her reaction from earlier. So Kyuya tells Yuki that itsuomi had called her name with very affectionate voice, so she wondered if itsuomi always used to speak this affectionately with her, then. They were really being a cute couple and Rin and Kyuya were enjoying their innocent love, but now, since all the shopping was done, Itsuomi asked Rin if she wants help to get some alone time with Kyuya, so she gets honest with her feelings and Itsuomi gave her the advice to ask Kyuya out for a long drive. His advice worked. And Itsuomi took Yuki back home separately. There, she asked Itsuomi for dinner together, but he was going back home. She was broken by his refusal, but Itsuomi invited her to join him at his house. And Yuki was still confused about the sudden invitation, so she kept quiet the whole time from nervousness. But then Itsuomi sits beside her, wrapping his arm around her. They talk through phone. But she felt really comfortable around Itsuomi, and felt the time should have stopped in that very moment. But after that, Itsuomi showed her his family photo. He has a kid sister living in Germany with his father. They were talking through words in a book and Yuki felt like she wants to know him even more. But this time Itsuomi asks her if her parents uses sign language, so she tells him that her family uses gestures or Yuki had to do lip reading to understand them. It took a lot of effort to learn lip reading, which got her down. She could actually speak a little bit but Yuki thinks her voice is weird. It made her a bit sad. So Itsuomi goes off and brings out many of the foreign currency and coins to make her happy. There he tried to scare her with a Hawaii mask, which made her laugh a bit and her voice came out. It was a very delicate voice, but Kyuya butts in and asks about Yuki, so Itsuomi tells him he brought her back to his room for dinner, so he got worried and told Itsuomi not to do anything. But bro can't focus on him while he was with Yuki, but she goes through the conversation with words, there, and Itsuomi tickled her to make her laugh again, so Yuki asked if her voice was weird. But it was the opposite. Itsuomi finds her voice very cute, and more so he wanted to know more about her if she is okay with it. He reminds her that she said she was okay if Itsuomi does something to her, and she tells him in sign language, but Itsuomi didn't get it, but there Emma comes in. So Yuki thought if she should also get back home. Yuki was surprised and sad when she left, and Itsuomi had told her he would walk her back home. But she kept having that heavy thought of Itsuomi and Emma, so she left all by herself, so the next day she goes to Rin and told her about Emma. So Rin tells her that Itsuomi always looks at her with gentle eyes, plus his voice when he talks to her is extremely affectionate so she shouldn't worry, and to make things work out between them. Rin secretly called out Itsuomi there and gives them some alone time. He asked her what she was telling yesterday about how many things he could do, and she tells him he could do everything. Not in that way, but in a romantic way, even without a voice. Those words, everything, showed the love she felt for him. But that's where the video comes to an end for today. But stay tuned to watch another part of this anime on my channel. Until then, take care.